Details on a shooting at an Omaha smoke shop over the weekend.
Court documents revealing today the victim was found outside the store just north of 108th and West Maple Saturday afternoon. He is said to have severe injuries to his spine and face from gunshots. Prosecutors say the violence was caught on camera and shows the alleged gunman, Travion Green, speaking with the victim's girlfriend before opening fire. Police say Green turned himself in along with the gun. And according to the arrest warrant, Green told police he did not know the victim. Green allegedly told them he believed his girlfriend was in danger and that he opened fire when the man started to remove a gun from a bag. Green's been charged with assault and illegally using a gun. His bond is set at $500,000.